Well, in an attempt to revive the Khalistani movement, the K group have started blaming India for the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. And this is perhaps the reason that the, the Consulate General's office in San Francisco was set on fire by Khalistani groups. And perhaps, many believe that it was a way to send out a strong message to India and also to reignite passions amongst the supporter base of Khalistani groups. Now, many believe, and in fact, experts say that American soil has been deliberately chosen because the closeness between India and America is not really going down well with these anti-India forces. Now, in the month of March, at the time of the arrest of Amritpal Singh, there was a global campaign which was started by these K groups in America, in Canada, in Australia, in England, in Auckland, everywhere around the globe. And in fact, many Indian offices were attacked. There were violent protests outside Indian diplomatic missions across the world. But that particular momentum which was built by Khalistani movement couldn't last long. This time around, they again see opportunity in the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who died because of the internal conflict and internal rivalry for power and money within these K groups. Now, this fresh narrative is being peddled against India, that India is behind the killing. And this is a reason that in last few days, the protests are going on in Canada to an extent that pamphlets and circulars are being published carrying the photographs of Indian diplomats serving in Canada, America and Australia, calling them killers, to create sensation, to create media buzz. So all this is also being done. Now, there are four main countries where these groups are active, and in fact, in last maybe 6 months or 1 year, 1 year time, these groups have done one or the other violent activity. Now, let's start with Australia. Now, Australia has set a template with regard to taking action against these groups. When Prime Minister Anthony Albanese was in India, at that point in time, Prime Minister Modi did raise the issue of temple attack in Australia, and perhaps at the prime ministerial level, this intervention was done by the government of India, resulting in Australian authorities, the police force and authorities acting against these groups. After the intervention of the Indian government, adequate security is now being given to Indian foreign offices and temples in Australia. Then, in many of the cases, professional investigation is going on. CCTV footages have been released. Sketches have been released, and many of them are still on the run, but authorities are looking out for those people who were involved in vandalizing or perhaps beating up Indians outside the Federation Square. Now, and the third and the most important one which Australia has done is going after the perpetrators of these incidents. And in fact, now these Khalistani groups are really finding difficult to get an auditorium or a space to organize their referendum event. So Australian government has set a template of dealing with these groups, and in fact, whenever they do something, there is a condemnation coming from the government, the highest office in the government, and both India and Australia remain in touch with regard to the activities of the K groups. Now let's talk about England, London. In London, in the month of March, at the time of Amritpal Singh's campaign, which was going on, at that point in time, Avtar Khanda and other Khalistanis gherowed the High Commission, and perhaps there was a protest and they pulled down the Indian flag. Indian side objected to it very strongly. The High Commissioners was summoned, Deputy High Commissioner was summoned by Ministry of External Affairs, and the concerns were raised. Even during the telephonic conversation with Rishi Sunak, Prime Minister Modi did raise the issue of the safety of Indian diplomatic mission buildings in England, and post that now after this particular incident, and since it has been flagged off, at a prime ministerial level, at a diplomatic level. Now the government has become really careful with regards to the security. Adequate security has been given to the High Commissioner, Commissioner's office in London. Then there was a proper security review which was done by the Home Department in London of the diplomatic mission, with proper coordination with Metropolitan Police. Avtar Khanda was arrested. Later he died because of the prolonged illness. So London has also acted to an extent, but many believe that this action has less to do with the intention of going after these groups, but more to please India so that they can sign a trade deal as soon as possible. Now let's talk about Canada, the most problematic country when it comes to dealing with the Khalistani groups. Trudeau government is in coalition. They need a support of Sikh leader. Sikh leaders support his government, and because of which only his government is safe. And this is perhaps the reason that he doesn't act against Khalistani groups at all. So in the month of March, Indian High Commissioner Sanjay Verma's reception was cancelled, and in fact Indians were beaten up outside the venue, but not a single arrest has been made, and in fact no case was lodged by the authorities in Canada. Then there was again several protests which turned violent outside Indian diplomatic mission. There also no case has been registered, no condemnation came. Recently, the moment of assassination of Indira Gandhi was depicted in a tableau at a Khalistani rally. At that time, India flagged it off with the Canadian authorities again. So condemnation had come only from Canadian High Commissioner to India's office. And now today, when these posters are being circulated, carrying photographs of Indian diplomats and widely circulated on social media platform and there in Canada also, and in fact the rally has also been announced on 8th of July. So the Foreign Office of Canada has condemned, perhaps the Foreign Minister has issued a statement not supporting any such rally or the pamphlets that are being distributed. But when it comes to take action against these groups, when it comes to arrest them, when it comes to breaking down their morale, or when it comes to ideologically maintaining distance from them, then Canadian government is not doing any of them, and perhaps they are working, it looks like they are working in connivance with these groups, because it's a requirement of a vote bank politics, and that was rightly highlighted by External Affairs Minister Jaishankar not just once but multiple times, that because of the requirement of the vote bank politics, because the government is in coalition, they need a support of Sikh leader. So no action is being taken against these groups, and now Canada has become a safe soil, safe haven for these groups, these gangsters. They all operate from there freely, they roam around freely, they do all sorts of illegal activities there, anti-India activities there, and because they know there's nobody going to stop them or take action against them. Now it comes to America. Now in America, these cases are quite common. There are a section of people, those who belong to this ideology or perhaps are a part of a larger Khalistani conspiracy. But then with America, there is not an issue, because America is a friend. America helps India. America is on a same page with India when it comes to these Khalistani groups. And this is perhaps the reason that when today this incident happened, that the consulate has been set on fire, the outer portion of the consulate has been set on fire, the American High Commissioner was, American ambassador was not summoned, no diplomat has been summoned, nothing has been done on this level. What India has done is that authorities from both sides are in touch, and in fact the embassy in Washington and the consulate in San Francisco, they are closely coordinating with authorities in America to lodge case or perhaps take some sort of a legal action against those who are involved or build pressure. So America is helpful, America is coordinating with India, and America perhaps is the first country which reacted to this incident before Indian government could release a statement or condemn or maybe ask America to intervene in this matter. So America understands India's position on this issue, and this is the reason that America and India are on the same page when it comes to Khalistani movement. But America also understands that the closeness between India and Khalistan and India and America is not going down well with these forces, and this is the reason that instead of choosing diplomatic mission in Ottawa or Toronto or maybe some other parts of the world, these groups have deliberately done in San Francisco to send out a message to America also that that they are not very happy with the kind of relations that America is sharing with India.